I'll be right back. I'll be back 30 seconds. 30 seconds tops. You have a good job with the doctor? Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna stream, so I'll just be talking to a video camera for the next half hour. Hello there.
I've been playing with Laminas today.
Oh, you're playing with Laminas? We're streaming, by the way. This is actually video shout out. We're gonna do that there. Video shout out for New Ninja. You shouted me out a week or two ago.
GNU Ninja!
Yeah, the Dev Null himself. Me and Sensei, we really enjoy your videos, and you may otherwise know him as Oddka or Blundershock or what's the other one? Epicus? Anyways,
I can't remember. So good you can't fucking remember.
anyways, you had been showing off your hardware, some of your favorite hardware, and I don't have a lot of hardware, so I figured I'd just show it all off and show what I got. I mean, synthesizer wise, I'm not going to show off my controllers today. There's some really cool controllers in the bunch, but the group of them. But I'm just going to show off some of the history of hardware. And some of it's quite dusty because we've been doing renovations, and everything in the house has been collecting dust. And we're kind of stalled on the renovations for now, but nonetheless, it's just one of those things that happens in life. So I'm going to first start off. This is not the first piece of hardware I've acquired, but this one is particularly relevant to New Ninja, as he had been showing off some Volcas several months ago, last year. And I had asked him, we interacted and had a conversation. He kind of suggested, I had mentioned that I was looking for a drum machine, and then I was looking into I don't remember which one it was, but it was a Volca, definitely a Volca, and he suggested the Volca sample, and I looked into it, and like his advice seemed really spot on, and I can confirm today that I agree with that fully. I have the OG sample, not the sample 2. Not sure how good of a decision that was because I did have the option between the two, and both were pretty much the same price. This machine though is really awesome.
Where are the inputs and outputs?
You see, you've got the sync in and sync out, and then you've got the 2.5. And these all use more or less the same cables, but you need certain cables for the syncs, right? Like you can't just use any 3.5 millimeter cable for the syncs. But this machine is really cool. You can do a lot with this. You can make, like I haven't even begun to add my own samples or anything like that because it's kind of a crazy process. But really also because the samples that are on there are really versatile in what you can do with the machine. And I believe they are fully licensed to use with the machine.
Oh, Volca's the cog.
Yeah, Korg Polka.
I didn't know that they were Korg.
It's a really cool series that they've been blowing it away for the last several years unknowingly to a lot of people, and it's kind of cut on in the last couple of years that these series exist. So the next one I'm going to show.
Chili Owen had a Korg keyboard years ago with his Atari ST. And it was like Korg, yeah.
I remember fairly recently he shared his songs that some of his remaining songs that he had with it. Anyways, the next one in the set is the Stylophone, the first series, the original. There's an X2 or a V2 or something like that version of this that's it's got more features, more function, and a little bit more usability, but supposedly, and I've only heard this from people who have owned both, or claim to own both, is that the OG has the more richer sound. It's got the more fuller and richer sound, so more depth.
No output to that then.
Oh, so there's one knob on the back, and there is an output on this. I think. Yes, on the side there's MP3 in, so you can have an input on this, and you can also, I believe the MP3 is an output, an input, and it's not the headphones, which is of course your typical output on a lot of these devices is the headphones.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things are mono, like not just this one, but I think the sample is stereo, and then there's the sample, and then there's I don't know what else is sample is stereo. I don't know what else is stereo. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by
But while you distracting yourself, I'll just mention that I remember getting a Casio keyboard for Christmas one year. It had no outputs. It was utterly useless. It's like, what use is a keyboard without an output? I mean, I don't know why they built it, but there you go, it's Casio.
Yeah, I mean, Casio, I mean, in Canada, the stuff was pretty much junk, even if you could spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on it. I mean, they were okay as kind of sound bank synthesizers kind of things, but
It had a dog woof button, so you could go woof, 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 woof. It's a bit rubbish, really.
no, they were really kind of junk. I mean, even if you spent thousands of dollars on them, like they were okay for sound bank things. And you could get the high-end blingy ones with the outputs and stuff, but like a lot of it was just junk that would ruin your kids' aspirations to becoming a pianist because they can't get the sound that they're looking for from the piano, and it's not a synthesizer where they can actually play around with the sound and get play around in that way. And I mean, in a way, it was like an access for me. But at the same time, for me, it was just like, like, this isn't a real piano. It doesn't sound like a real piano. It doesn't behave like a real piano. And it doesn't do anything good that a synthesizer should do either. I mean, it's okay for like some cheesy 80s, 90s, early 90s bar band or whatever, bar singer, to do like a performance or whatever, but for the most part, it was just really kind of junk. If you any creative kind of capacity.
If it's any benefit to you, that Casio keyboard I got for Christmas totally put me off. So it did its job.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're alone in that regard. I think you would have a lot of fun if you spent, even if you like checked out like a free DAW or something. And I think there's some codes floating around the Discord. But
I'm busy with Laramis or whatever they call it.
anyways, the next piece of hardware we got is the monotrons. This is the monotron delay, and we've
Another
got
combo.
the monotron duo as well. I got the monotron duo first because I really like the idea of having two oscillators, and one of the oscillators kind of works as a modulator. So as an effects pedal, and this is really what these things are about in my mind. Is these are like effects for playing with your your Volcas out in nature as a mobile kind of device, mobile instrument, in just like a small area, small open area, or a small, like you go somewhere and you just use these as a device, and you don't need like I have to do speaker or amp or anything like you would with a guitar effects pedal. But these are really cool. Um, the delay in particular is really highly people like this one because um, obviously delay is like the best effect. You can't change my mind. Uh,
Seem to be quite reminiscent of the stylophone, given the little
in
pad.
some ways, in some ways. So okay, it's got the ribbon keyboard, right? And the ribbon keyboard is on the stylophone is a little bit different because you use a pen system. It plays with a pen that like electrodes. It makes the circuit with the pen.
Right.
And
These are finger.
these are a lot less precise. Like you can be pretty precise with the pen on the stylophone. It's not the best playability compared to like actual keyboards or anything, but it's quite playable. And these are less playable. Like you can very much have fun with these. I've made at least one or two songs with at least one or two of them, like just as instruments in themselves. Even if I don't know if I released them or not, but like I've made some cool things with these just on their own. The stylophone is definitely feels more like something I can reproduce. At least the key progression, the melody, and so on versus these where it's more like wild silver apples, atonal synthesis kind of thing, and noodling. Which I mean, noodling is totally valid. It's like a classic jazz thing. No disrespect to jazz intended here, but
Do you wanna cut this short because it's gonna be a video? Is it gonna be a video or don't want to go on too long? Split it up if necessary.
we still got a few more pieces of hardware to show, bro.
Well, exactly, but that's why I'm saying maybe split it up into separate videos. I don't know.
No,
It's
it
gonna be
doesn't need
it's
to
quite
be.
long.
No, people just like watching the regular things. Anyways, this is the vocal modular. You can see I got a patch in there. This is not as cool a patch as I had in there just before it. I had a really killer patch in it. I was just like, it was driving me nuts. I had to like try some things. And the things I tried out didn't really work out for me. But if you really, this is a cheap introduction to modular synthesis. Don't spend $10,000 on a Euro rack straight out the base. Buy one of these, get to know it, and understand it a little bit. Like I'm still at the beginning stages of understanding it, almost 2 years in. But this is a really cool piece of hardware that will learn you the the fundamentals of modular synthesis
Those things
and synthesis
with
in
all the
general.
wires everywhere.
The only thing I don't like about this one is it doesn't have an MIDI in. Instead, it has a CV sequencer in, which is you can integrate it with uh, an actual like Eurorack kind of thing, as far as I know, right? Like if you have the controllers and stuff going on.
I don't know any of that.
For me, I'd rather have the MIDI in, which of course you can hack it. I think there's right around here. There's you can cut through the plastic and you can uh, do like a weird janky kind of thing between it and the CV line from one of those things. And I think I'm gonna do. I think
Hear the sounds of a quick demonstration.
no, no, we're not doing demonstrations tonight. You can hear that in all of my music. It's not,
Fine, that's fine.
yeah. This is the stuff I use for my music a lot of the time.
Another cog with a real keyboard. Ah, yeah.
So this is the Korg monologue. I picked this up. Hey, Rad, we're doing a video right now. Just to let you know.
Leave?
No, no worries. You can hang out. It's just I just want to let you know.
Okay.
So this is the Korg monologue. Just to catch you up. This is a really cool machine. I learned about this some years ago. Saved up for it. So it's like double the price of the Volcas, which are around $200 Canadian usually. And but the monologue, it's very cool thing that is Apex Twin helped develop it, and you can really hear that in the sound. You can really hear that in the sound as well as in how the sequencer plays. And of course, there's a bunch of presets and stuff that are made by Aphex Twin, and you can basically play your own Aphex Twin cover kind of thing, or remix, so to say.
But it's a DJ.
It's not a DJ thing. It's an
It's
analog
DJ.
synthesizer. Yeah, Richard D. James. Yeah, Aphex Twin. Richard
Good
D.
evening,
James.
Rad, anyway, by the way.
Good evening.
Hello. And yes, this is a very cool machine. It's very dusty right now. I really need to get at dusting these things. I need to just like take an afternoon and get the white wipes and go at it. I kind of have been looking for tips. So if you have tips on good safe cleaning materials for this kind of hardware, I would appreciate it because I'd rather go in with an overabundance of caution.
Not sure anybody who says get the white wipes and go at it needs any advice.
But you had been asking about the ins and outs. This has the full range. This has the headphones, the output, the audio in, and the audio in goes through I believe the second deco and the LFO on that, and you can really do some really cool effects and stuff. And commonly in the past, I've used this with the vocal keys as the audio in because it's really hard to use the vocal keys without like a MIDI controller of some kind. I didn't have that capability up and running until recently, so I would kind of make like a simplistic sequence and on the vocal keys and run it through here and hope I didn't screw up the vocal keys. But it's got the full MIDI in out USB compatibility at some point, but it's not like you can't just plug it into the USB and play it on your computer. You actually have to use the audio ins notes for that. It's more the USB is more for managing the presets and saving them and backing them up, because you do want to back up those factory defaults, because will run out of space very quickly on this. The sequencer is very playable, and it's got the slide, which the more expensive cousin, the mini log, does not have, which we'll get to in a moment here. And it's just a really pleasant machine to use and play, and it's got quite a bit of versatile sounds. And I honestly it's got a special place in my heart as like my first, you know, big synth machine. Like before the Volcas, which I feel like this is on. The Volcas are more or less equal footing with this as instruments. It's just this is the one that was my first that I saved up for. It was really cool.
Yours gonna last forever. At this rate, he can't stop talking. He's got so much hardware, and he just can't. Here we go.
Just a quick look at the vocal keys. This is best used with a MIDI controller, as I was saying. The sequencer on this is different from the other Volcas, and it's a very interesting machine, worth the money. But it's got an awesome sound, killer sound, and a lot of variability in sometimes the approaches. But you really want a sequencer for this. You want a MIDI controller of some kind, whether it's your DAW or uh, your like an actual hardware sequencer of some kind.
That is dusty as fuck.
And then finally, because I know Sensei wants to wrap this up, but also because we've essentially run out of hardware that is worth showing. I do have a K oscillator on the shelf, but I don't really think that's worth bothering with. Because I don't have kind opinions about that one. It's kind of like the Casio thing, right? But the final thing, and I mentioned the mini log.
Oh yeah, look at the strain.
Those MIDI connections are killer. They really do connect pretty good. They're ready for a beating. So this is the Korg New Tech NTS1 digital synthesizer. And this is really cool because it's basically the same thing as the $700. I think it's the $700 version. There's a few versions of the mini log, but this is basically the same internal hardware as the mini log. That it's just cut down into this very small unit. It doesn't have elegant the fancy controls or the fancy keyboard. It's got just the ribbon keyboard, which again, this is one of those things like the Monotrons, where you can play the keyboard, and you can get quite a bit of playability out of it, but it's hard to reproduce and get like the exact right notes, right kind of thing. And you really want a MIDI controller for this as well. Which this one oddly and unusually has a 3.5 millimeter MIDI in, which is a unique dongle that looks like this, and it's basically you got your MIDI connection and you get 3.5, and it's a very unusual thing that only Teenage Engineering really makes it for one of their machines, and it can be kind of a pain in the ass to find, I guess. So hopefully Korg will step up and start producing those, maybe. But the cool thing about the NTS-1 is that you have to assemble it yourself, and I guess at least in my country, this saved me customs charges from Japan, because I got this from Japan. And it was really a rather pleasant surprise that it didn't have customs charges. And it was quite, I'll tell you, I have a hard time. I have a little bit of a Korea, and I have a hard time dealing with small screws, which small screws, of course, are are a little bit shaky in my fingers, and I didn't have too much of a hard time putting this together. I really didn't. It was pretty decent. Yeah, I think so.
You had to build it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the top and the bottom plate and the side plates were all attached, and then there was other bits, and it was, it was very easy. It took me maybe half an hour, and I mean, I'm a Lego guy in the past, and I get really frustrated with Lego now to the point I don't want to build Lego
Well, that
anymore.
can, really, isn't it?
And it was, well, it's quite, it's quite cool. Like there's another kind of card in the middle, but
I like the, is it the LED or LCD or whatever that sticks out? I like that.
yeah, the LCD is pretty basic, but it's informative for what you need it for in terms of controlling an instrument. And of course, one of the cool things about this, which is also true of the mini logs, is that it's programmable. You can add your own patches to it, your own effects. There's quite a community for making effects for this, and oscillators as well. Not just the effects. You can customize it. It's got a fairly limited space, very limited space, and I think any of the Korg instruments with with any kind of space in them are typically pretty limited in terms of that space. But there is a community for that, and that is really cool. I don't know if there's like something like that for patches for the monologue, but anyways, I just want to finally show my audio interface.
Streaming at the moment. Keep your mouth shut.
That is the complete audio one. It's a pretty decent little box for the price. It was like 129 Canadian dollars. And it comes with a pretty good software speak package, and I wasn't buying it for the software package. I was buying it for the ease of interoperability. Holy shit, that's a tongue twister. Yeah. And basically, like I had poor experience with the UM20 Behringer, which is what I had been harassing New Ninja with questions about his own Behringer audio interface, because I guess it's got quite a bit of a way better one that makes more sense. And I mean, it works with his particular thing too, because you know. But he's a wild man producing on Linux, which I mean, in Audacity even, that's just wilder, really.
Yeah. Multi props,
That's that's the guy is like doing the Iron Man mode, so to say.
But a lot of these devices remind me a bit of pedals. Like you've got for guitars where they've got loads of little twiddly knobs.
Oh yeah.
So that's more about adjusting the sound, I suppose, that comes out of a guitar rather than producing the sounds itself.
I mean, that depends on how you use them. A lot of people, they will just set a patch and they will play the keyboard or whatever. They won't twiddle the knobs. The twiddling the knob thing is totally a whole mission to itself. It's not that, people don't play while twiddling the knobs to find the patch or whatever. It's just that often the more traditional and mainstream view is to not twiddle the knobs while playing and performing, so to say. It's just to find that patch and stick to it kind of thing for the length of the performance for the most part outside.
Well, in respect to pedals, you really can't twiddle any knobs if you're trying to play guitar at the same time.
I mean, it's pretty hard to do when you're playing like the keyboard, like just with your actually into the sequencer. And a lot of times, what I'm doing is I'm using the power of the sequencer to my advantage so that I can twiddle the knobs and whatnot. Whether I'm doing it in a DAW or I'm doing it on with VSTs or I'm doing it on a hardware synthesizer like these. And these are really purpose built. Almost all these things have sequencers. Not all of them do, but the ones that do, like the Volcas and the Monologue, are it's really useful. have that sequencer. With this exception of the keys again, like the keys sequencer and whatnot is not as good a combo in itself, and it kind of makes it a difficult instrument to handle in that regard. But I mean, like the keys is great if you have a hardware sequencer or a software sequencer of some kind to hook into it.
So, do you want me to do the sign off? Yes. Thank you for watching. If you haven't been watching, you can't be thanked.
Cheers! Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the hardware parade, and I hope you guys have a fun and safe Friday evening and fun and safe weekend, and hopefully it's restful and relaxful. And I hope you see some loved ones this weekend. So you guys take care.